Is building your own PC cheaper than buying just a pre-built solution from a retailer? People tend to think sometimes that building your own will be cheaper because you don't have to pay the people that are building your PC for you and putting it together. On the other hand, retailers get their parts in bulk, so the economy of scale comes into play, and they get them for a lot cheaper price than you get your own individual parts. So how do these two factors kind of balance each other out? Are they worth it? So, and what are the advantages of disadvantages of each of them? That's what we're going to be looking at today. So I'm going to look for some random pre-built PC. I'll pick, well, not random. I will pick a decent PC, not super entry level, not super high end either, from a retailer online. This keep in mind I'm based in the Netherlands, so all prices and offers will be based on the Netherlands prices and offers from the shops around here. I'll pick one that is known for having pretty decent and competitive prices, and then I will pick the parts one by one and just make a build out of it, trying as good as possible to match the parts from there. Individual part prices are obviously subject to fluctuation due to sales, due to deals, due to just shortages in terms of supply and how popular they are, obviously. So, and the competition between the stores, obviously. So, that's also something worth keeping in mind, but I'll just point out what is available at this time of making the video. For comparison purposes, I will use the Dutch site Alternate. It is one of the more reasonable prices sites out here. It's pretty good. I've bought from it in the past. Great experience. Never had issues. And they have quite a few offerings in a lot of price ranges. Down from the 9 something, 800 something. They probably have lower if I keep scrolling, all the way down to the 5,000 euro listings. So I will go with, well, kind of an intermediate range. It's a bit on the higher end, but still not the best of the best. I'll be going with this one, 1899. It has a 9700 KF as well as a RTX 2070 Super. Other than the usual advertisement of each part that they have here, they also have some specifications of what exactly is in there. So I'll be going through that list, try to build a PC with around the same specs and see what the price difference actually is. I will try to match the parts as best as possible, although in some cases you can see it might be actually slightly tricky because they don't really specify in some of those cases. Like the RTX 2080 Super, they do not tell you which AIB it is, they do not tell you what power supply you have, they do not tell you exactly what RAM is in there or timings or anything like that. So we're kind of gonna have to wing it a little bit, but I'll try to pick good and affordable models and as far as that category goes without going overboard on price or quality and or extra features like RGB while still being within the same performance bracket. If there is 16GB DDR4 300, I'll try to pick one with reasonable timings even though it might not match this one completely. There is also no mention of which case is used, and I don't recognize the case by looking at it like that, but it seems to be a Corsair, so I'll be fishing around to see if I can find out which one it is. Let's start with the processor. They have a KF in their system. However, the K is actually cheaper and comes with integrated graphics, so it would be stupid not to use it. So let us pick the K and actually add it to our list. For the M2 drive, the exact same one is not available on this price seeker, but it is available on alternate, the same store actually, for 74 euros. So I'm gonna add this one, which is 73. Not a big difference, and it at least gives you the price on the list to be able to sum it up easily at the end. So this is the end result that we got. I tried to match the parts that are on that pre-built as closely as possible. I succeeded on the CPU, the motherboard, the hard drive and SSD, as well as the case and the cooling system. For the rest, the decisions that I made were pretty much limited by what was available. I could not identify the RAM. It was a very generic looking piece, so I got this one, which was one of the cheaper ones, while still being 300 megahertz. It is a CL16. It is a G-Skill, so which is a good brand. So yeah, and for the power supply, I did not pick the cheapest one, so it could have even been cheaper. It's a Seasonic Focus Plus 650 Gold. It's one of my favorite power supplies right now. It is fully modular, so if you went to something cheaper, you could save a buck there if you went for example, a non-modular one. As for the graphics card, it seemed to be a Founders Edition card that was used. Those were not in stock, so I could not see the price. The price, however, on the NVIDIA website mentions it is 539. This one is close enough, and it is an AIB model, which is probably what you would get if you were to build your own PC. The CPU, like I mentioned, I did not use a KF, but a K, which honestly, it is better because it has an integrated GPU and it was also cheaper than the KF, even if only by a matter of like 10 euros or so. I also managed to identify the case, I believe. It seems to be a Corsair Carbide 275R with the tempered glass side. It's not a super expensive case, but it does look good. In any case, the whole point is I managed to duplicate the setup, and as you can see, it was listed as 18.99 on the web store's site, and it would come down to, if you were to build it yourself, 1586. So that's a pretty big difference. We're talking about nearly 300 euro difference around here. So for a 300 euro difference, you would say that it's definitely worth building your PC. You definitely still get a better deal out of buying the parts yourself as opposed to having them pre-built. However, there are a few catches to that. First, you need to have the knowledge and the know-how how to do it. I have a few videos on it if you are looking into how to build your PC, so just look back in the channel, you're going to find some. In any case, it's not very difficult. That there is, like I said, a few catches to actually building your own PC. If you buy it from a store like that, already fully assembled and ready, you will have usually warranties and troubleshooting help if you so require. And here, while you do obviously still have the warranties from the parts, if a problem arises, you kind of have to deal with it yourself, as opposed to just taking your PC to the store or sending it back or anything like that. It also has to be said that the one that you buy pre-built will come with an actual copy of Windows already pre-installed. It might not be a full-on copy, it might be an OEM copy, so if you are to replace parts, you kind of might be a bit out of luck, depending on the version of Windows used. However, Windows costs 100 something if you were to actually buy Windows. So even if you were to buy Windows and you don't have a previous installation that you can use, that would still not make up for the 300 euro difference that you see in prices of parts versus pre-built. So money-wise, pre-built is definitely the way to go. Now, obviously, yeah, like I said, some people might have never built a PC before, they might be scared by it, and they might be afraid of breaking something, and want it done by an expert, in which case I can only recommend that you ask your friends around if you actually have someone that knows how to do it or has done it before and can help you. If you are a bit more adventurous, there are plenty of great guides out there on how to build PCs. I have some of my channel myself, even if they are not always the best video quality, they do give you an idea of what you need to do, and they do show that it's not as complicated as you might actually think. The biggest advantage of picking your own PC parts, however, is not so much, well, the price obviously is a big plus, but it's not only that, is that you have then the freedom to choose the parts that you want, combine them in the ways that you want, and you are not forced to go with whatever the store is, well, basically trying to shove you. If you are, for example, let's look at this example. If you want a different case, you could choose whatever case you want, as opposed to just the one that is offered on that product listing. If you would like, for example, a 360 AIO instead of a 240, I believe this one, then you would have the freedom to do that as well. You want to go with all MSI or all Gigabyte or all Asus, then you have absolute freedom in choosing the parts you want. If you want more capacity, less capacity, bigger power supply or not, better RAM or not, if you would want to go with Ryzen instead of Intel, you have a lot of options. You could go with a lower CPU or a higher GPU or the other way around. You can mix and match and combine and end up with whatever PC you want, suited to your needs and not just limited to the listing that's on the site. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful if you are deciding between buying a computer already assembled or building your own. Give a like to this video or a comment down below if you think I missed something, or if you have suggestions for other content. Consider subscribing to the channel if you'd like to help us grow and provide better content in the future. And well, hopefully I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, have fun.